Yeah.
Best memory for England?
Best memory? I just think making a debut. I think making my debut for England. It was.
Where was it?
It was we played Wales. It was in Wrexham. So we played at Wrexham's ground.
Wrexham's out before it got bought.
Yeah. So we played there, and it was. We won very very comfortably, but it was just being able to play with such amazing players who have competed with through that time, and being able to play with them is such an amazing feeling. I think I was 21 at the time, so it's quite grateful to be part of that. But I think it was all the help from what I was doing at Leeds got me into that situation.
Is it strange then going from like seeing somebody like as an enemy basically when you're playing week in week out to being a teammate and having to play with them, be friendly, going on camps?
Yeah, it was kind of strange because a lot of the time early on, because we did like England schools and stuff at 116s level, I think you've only played like, it depends where they were from as well, because we just played Northwest teams. We'd always just play against them, and we never, except for when we played in a national cup, we'd always play like a Yorkshire team or something like that. So a couple of the players that we played with during that time didn't even know, didn't even really play with them or anything. So, but then when you go into the first team, you're competing with everybody. So it was always going to be kind of, at that time I think what they did was they had a big rivalry with Leeds and St Helens because they used to play in the finals all the time. I think that was always kind of a problem. It used to be quite cliquey, but I wasn't in that stage. It was before we came in. So, but when we came in, everything kind of changed, and the group was all one. It was all together. So we had Steve McNamara. He's the coach at Catalans now. He implemented that, which was good, and I think we had a good run in the World Cup in 2013. Came up just short in the last second against New Zealand at Wembley. So, but we knew we had a good group together, and then we did it again in 2017. We had like an old school Australian coach called Wayne Bennett, who's been highly successful for a number of years in NRL and in the international level as well. So he's helped out obviously Australia, but he's helped out New Zealand as well. He was assistant there in a World Cup as well, and they won that. And then he was head coach for us in 2017, which was incredible. What I'd say in terms of the international stage, that was such an amazing experience. It was 8 weeks over in Australia, which was
a dream again.
A dream again. So we went to Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, went over to New Zealand for one game. We played in the semi-final in New Zealand. We played Tonga in New Zealand, which was, I would say, trumps everything in terms of atmosphere. So all week we'd play, we knew that we were playing obviously Tonga, but Tongan fans were just everywhere around Auckland. And we got to the game. Well, as we were going into the game, the roads, all cars were about. It was just a sea of red. There's a sea of Tongan fans everywhere. And then we got into the stadium, and it was just Tongan flags waving everywhere. And then when we came out, the noise was deafening. It was more than when we played in the finals and played in the World Cup final the week after. That atmosphere just topped everything. It was mental because. We would play, you could hardly hear anyone speak on the field. You couldn't hear because all they were doing was just singing. They were just
singing and dancing,
singing, dancing, praying, everything. It was kind of crazy to be a part of that. And I think that's when I always look back at that game and I think the atmosphere couldn't get any better than that. And it's
peak.
It's the peak. That's the highest level. Also, we played Tonga, and at the time they were evolving. They brought quite a few players that went back to their heritage, and they took a lot of key players in. So they had a big run into. They beat New Zealand on the way as well, and then we played them, and we did really well. We got to 20 points. I think we were 20 points to nil up. It was I think it was like 7 or 8 minutes to go, and then they scored 3. They scored 3 tries to get back, and they almost scored right at the end. They dropped the ball right at the end to nearly beat us. So it was unbelievable.
They're the games you won, though, aren't they?
They're the games you got. And then it was such relief. It was such relief when when we won that game, because we knew that we had one more to go. We had the final against Australia, which we just fell short of. We lost 6-0, so just the one try in it, and became so close. Became so close to winning it. But ultimately, the whole experience was incredible, and I just loved playing for England. I think a lot of the time early on, I didn't feel like I did the shirt justice at the time. Wasn't performing, I don't think, at the level that I thought I could. But that year when we played at the World Cup, that was probably my best, when I was playing at my absolute best in the centres as well. So I had a really good World Cup there, and that was a time as well where I could have gone to Australia. But at the time, it was a transitional period at Leeds, and I wanted to prove myself at Leeds as well. And